All right, guys, lesson 2.2. Today we're talking about multiplying polynomials together. So last time in 2.1, you would take one polynomial and add or subtract another polynomial. Today, we're going to take a polynomial and we're going to multiply it by another polynomial. And this is something that you are going to do the rest of the year. Almost every assignment that you have going forward, you are going to be dealing with multiplying polynomials together. So I'm going to show you two different methods. The book has 3 methods listed. I'm going to show you 2 of them. And basically by the end of this homework, you're going to pick which one you like the most. And I promise you are going to find one. You're not going to switch back and forth very often. You're going to be really comfortable using one or the other. And neither one, it's not like one is better than the other. They both get you where you need to go. They just organize it a little bit different. So the first method, in fact, in your notebook, I want you to write down multiplying polynomials. All right, copy that down, start a new section in your notebook, multiply polynomials. And we're going to do 2 methods. Method 1, we're actually going to skip all the way down to example 3. So we're going to skip down to page 71 because we're going to, this is their third method. I want to show you this one first. So in the past, if you had something like, I've got an example over here on the left. If you had 3 multiplied by x plus 4, what you would do in 7th grade, you learned to take the 3 and multiply it by the x, and that would give you 3x. And then you would take the 3 and multiply it by the positive 4, and that would give you a positive 12. We called that distribution. I made a joke once that it looks like a Santa hat, and then the Mrs. Ledbetter and some of the other teachers thought that was great, and they might still call it the Santa hat method. But basically, you take that 3 and you have to multiply it by everything inside the parentheses. Well, we're not just going to put a 3 in front anymore. This second example, notice that I've got one parenthesis multiplied by another parenthesis. Okay. Now, last time we had a plus in the middle, and you would just add everything together. But today, there's not a plus. So what it means is this parenthesis needs to get multiplied by this parenthesis. And it's not that much different than distribution. The only difference is I have 2 things in this parenthesis, and both of those things need to get distributed to the other parenthesis. So I'm going to show you how to do that. All we are doing is taking everything in the first one and multiplying it by everything in the second one. So the first method is called the FOIL method. And this is the way a lot of your parents learned how to do this. F stands for first, O stands for outer, I stands for inner, and L stands for last. And I don't expect you to memorize those, but it might help you organize multiplying all of this together. Because basically what I'm going to do is, and I'll show you kind of my way of doing this, is I've got to take this x and multiply it by this x, and that gives me x squared. Then I've got to take my x and I've got to multiply it by my positive 2, and that gives me 2x. Then I've got to take my 1 and multiply it by x, which just gives me x. Then I've got to take my 1 and multiply it by the 2, which gives me a plus 2. And when I look at my answer, I have an x squared, a 2x, an x, and a 2. These two, that's kind of nice. Those two add together, so I have x squared plus 3x plus 2. So what the FOIL method, what that word is meant to do is to help you organize the multiplication. It's to help you remember what you need to multiply. So when it says first, the F stands for first, that just means multiply the first one in this parenthesis by the first one in that parenthesis, which is what I did. I did that right here. The O, the outer, means multiply the outside terms. The X is on the outside and the 2 is kind of on the outside of the parentheses, right? They're the outside terms. And that gave me the plus 2x. The I stands for inner, and that's where you multiply the 2 terms that are in the middle, inner terms, the 1 and the x. And that gave me the plus x. And then the L stands for last. So I take the last term in each parenthesis and multiply them together, and that gave me the plus 2. So all FOIL means is multiply everything in the first parenthesis by everything in the second parenthesis. It just is meant to help you organize your multiplication, okay? So for example, let's do these 2 examples right here, x minus 3 and x minus 6. And it would be a good idea to do this in your notebook. I know they're worked out in your textbook, but these are good examples to have written down. So x minus 3 multiplied by x minus 6. Everything in the first parenthesis has to get multiplied by everything in the second. So FOIL, F-O-I-L, first, x times x, that's x squared. Okay, so I did the F part. The outer, the x times the negative 6 is negative 6x, so I did the O. The inner terms, the negative 3 times the x is minus 3x. And then the last, the negative 3 times the negative 6 is positive 18. Be careful with that one. Positive 18. And before I'm done, I just double check. Do I have any like terms? And a lot of times you will. This one and this one are both x's. So negative 6 minus 3, that's negative 9x. And then I have a plus 18 and an x squared in front. Okay. All right, next one. 2x plus 1 multiplied by 3x minus 5. So FOIL, first, 2x, the first one in this one, times the first one in the second one. 2x times 3x, that's 6x squared. Outside terms, 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Inside terms, 1 times 3x, that's 3x. And last terms, 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Now, guys, the word FOIL is great. I draw these arrows still to this day. When I multiply, if you notice as I'm talking you through this, I'm drawing the arrows from what I'm multiplying. I still do that. I connect the 2 things that I'm multiplying together, and then I write the answer down. That helps me keep track of everything that I'm multiplying, so I don't forget anything out. If I look back and I realize, oh look, I don't have an arrow going from the 1 to the 3. Ooh, I forgot to multiply those 2 together. It helps me keep track of what I have and haven't done. So I still do it. That's how I still keep track of these problems. Now let's simplify this problem. 6x squared is all by itself. Negative 10x and positive 3x makes negative 7x. And then negative 5 is all by itself. So that would be my final answer. 6x squared minus 7x minus 5. Now I want you to try this. Don't do number 7 and number 8, but I want you to try number 5 and number 6. So pause the video, try using the FOIL method to do those 2 problems. Go. All right, so for number 5, you should have done m minus 3 multiplied by m minus 7. So I'm going to do m times m, which is m squared. That's my f. And then outside, m times negative 7 is negative 7m. And then I need to do the negative 3 times the m. That's my inside, negative 3m. And then last is negative 3 times negative 7, which is positive 21. M squared is all by itself. The 7m and the negative 3m make negative 10m's. And then I have a plus 21 by itself. Okay? X minus 4, let's see, I can fit this in here. X minus 4 times x plus 2. So I'm going to take the x times the x and get x squared. Then I'm going to take the x times the 2 and get 2x. And notice that when I do the first term, I go on the top. And when I do the second term, I go on the bottom, just so it doesn't get too messy. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then x squared is alone. 2x and negative 4x is negative 2x. And minus 8 is also alone. So that would be your final answer if you did it correctly. Okay? So that's the first method to multiply binomials together, or polynomials together. Now, what I like about that method is all I have to do is write the problem down and draw arrows. I don't have to do much extra. Again, guys, I've told you, I'm lazy with my math. If I can find a way to do something shorter, I do. And what I like about the FOIL method, all I'm doing is drawing arrows, right? And it's helping me keep track of my math. That's difficult for some of you to do. You need something a little bit more organized. So the second method that we're going to use, and in your notebook, you might want to write table method. Okay, so this is our second method. It's called the table method. And you guys are going to like this one. Some of you are going to like this a lot better than the FOIL method. So the way the table method works is here's my example right here. 2x minus 3 and x plus 5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a table to represent this multiplication, okay? So I'm going to make a 2 by 2 table. And I'm doing 2 by 2 because this has 2 terms and this one has 2 terms, all right? Now I'm going to take the 2x and I'm going to put it on the top of this box. And I'm going to take the minus 3 and put it on top of that box. Then I'm going to take the x from this one and put it here to the left of the box. And the plus 5 I'm going to put on this one. All right? I know in the book they put these in boxes as well. You're welcome to. I just write them on the outside. But here's what I want to do. I want to multiply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, each of these boxes represents the multiplication. So this x is going to get multiplied by 2x, and that becomes 2x squared. That's what goes in that box. And then I'm going to take this x and I'm going to multiply it by the negative 3, and that's negative 3x. So I'm done with my top row, so I move to my next row. I take the 5 and I multiply it by 2x, and that gives me 10x's. And then I take the 5 and I multiply it by negative 3, and that gives me negative 15. Notice I just did the same stuff I do when I FOIL. I took the 2x and timesed it by x. And then I took the 2x and timesed it by 5. And I took the negative 3 and timesed it by x. And I took the negative 3 and timesed it by 5. Just in a different order, but it's the same things. So what you end up with are the 4 different terms that now need to be combined together. And what some of you like about the table is a lot of times these ones right here can be combined together, right? So I start with 2x squared. And then if I'm gonna write this the long way, I have a minus 3x. And then I have the plus 10x. And then I have the minus 15. But these two go together. So I end up with 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. Okay? Now, again, the table, it's the exact same math that we did, but instead of arrows, it might help you organize your math a little bit better. Okay? So let's do, the book doesn't give you a lot of examples. So we're going to do some of these together, and some of them I'm going to have you do by yourself. So if we're going to work our way down to, I'm going to use the same table. Maybe I'll move it down here. Not too far. So we're going to use the same table, and we're going to do number 1 right here. Y plus 4 multiplied by y plus 1. So y goes here, plus 4 goes here. The other y goes here, and the plus 1 goes there. Now I multiply. Y times y is y squared. Y times 4 is 4y. 1 times y, well, that's just 1y. And 1 times 4 is 4. And then I write all of these down underneath. Y squared. Now, this 4y, there's not a plus there, but all of these are getting added or subtracted together. And since they're all positive, all of these signs are going to be pluses. And then if I look closely, 4y and y combine together. Notice that they were at an angle right there. Kind of cool, right? So y squared plus 5y's plus 4 would be your final answer. Okay, let's do one more with the table. Let's do, and then I'm going to have you try it. Let's do number 2. We'll use the table to do number 2. So I'm going to make a new table. And on the top, I'm going to put z minus 2. And on the side, I'm going to put z plus 6. And then I need to multiply. Z times z is z squared. Z times negative 2 is negative 2z. 6 times z is positive 6z. And then 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Now I just have to write all these down. Z squared minus 2z plus 6z minus 12. And before I say I'm done, look, I have two terms that I can combine together. So I have a z squared negative 2 plus 6. That's 4z's minus 12. All right, now I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try number 3 and number 4. Why don't you give those a try on your own? Try to do those without my help, and then unpause the video, and I'll go over the answers with you to make sure you did them correctly. So, ready, set, go. All right, welcome back. Hopefully, you did those correctly. Let's see what you ended up with. So I'm going to do number 3 first. I've got a p and a plus 3, and then I have a p and a minus 8. So p times p is p squared. P times 3 is 3p. Negative 8 times p is negative 8p. And negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. And now I just write all of these out. P squared plus 3p minus 8p minus 24. And before I'm done, those go together. So p squared minus 5p minus 24 would be my final answer. Okay? All right, let's try number 4. R goes on top, minus 5 goes on top, 2r goes in front, and minus 1 goes in front of that box. So 2r multiplied by r, that's 2r squared. 2r times negative 5, that's negative 10r. Negative 1 times r is negative r. And negative 1 times negative 5 is a positive 5. So let's write these out. 2r squared minus 10r minus r plus 5. And before I'm done, those r's went together. So 2r squared minus 11r plus 5 should be your final answer. If not, go back, see where you made a mistake, see what you need to do different, and apply it. Make that change on the next problem, okay? Okay, one more kind of problem I'm going to show you. And then you can go ahead and do some practice. So example number 4 wants you to multiply a binomial and a trinomial. So it gives you a x plus 5, and it wants you to multiply it by x squared minus 3x minus 2. Now, there's 2 ways to do this, and you've already done both of them. One of the ways is to use a table. The other way is kind of the FOIL method, but you can't call it FOIL because look at what I have to do. I have to take x times x squared, x times negative 3x, and x times negative 2. Then I have to take 5 times x squared, 5 times negative 3x, and 5 times negative 2. So I'm doing 6 different multiplications. So that's one way to do it. You can't use the word FOIL to help you keep track because FOIL only works when it's a 2 and a 2. But you still just multiply everything in the first one by everything in the second one. Or the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the table method. So this first one has 2 terms in it. So I'm going to make my table too tall. And my second one has 3 terms in it. So I'm going to make it go over 3. So I can't do a 2 by 2 because this time I have a 2 by 3. So the x and the plus 5 are going to go right there. And then the x squared minus 3x minus 2 are going to go across the top. And it doesn't matter if it went the other way, as long as the right pieces are where they belong. So x times x squared is x cubed. X times negative 3x is negative 3x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Which is what I would have done, right? If I was doing this my way, I don't usually use the table. I like to do it the lazy way. I would have done x times, well, where'd my marker go? X times x squared, x times negative 3x, and x times negative 2, and I would have ended up with the exact same numbers. Just not as organized, right? Okay, let's go back to the table. Now I need to do 5 times x squared. So that is 5x squared. Then I need to do 5 times negative 3x, which is negative 15x. Then I need to do 5 times negative 2, which is negative 10. And again, if I had done this my lazy way, 5 times x squared is 5x squared. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15x. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. I end up with all the same numbers, just organized differently. Now, here's what's cool about the table is I have an x cubed, and look right here, both of these are x squareds. So those are going to actually add together, right? These are both x's, so those are going to add together. So I have a choice. I can either write x cubed minus 3x squared minus 2x plus 5x squared minus 15x minus 10, which, look guys, that's exactly what I have up here. So we end up in the same place. My way's a little bit faster, but less organized, right? It might be hard to keep track of the multiplication my way. But either way, now I just combine like terms. X cubed, that's the only one, minus 3x squared and plus 5x squared. Negative 3 plus 5 is plus 2x squared. Negative 2x's minus 15x's. Whoa, that's negative 17x's. And then I'm left with a minus 10 all by itself. So that would be my final answer, okay? I don't care which method you use. I don't care if you use the table or the shortcut. But by the end of today's lesson, I want you to, I'm hoping that you find one that you like over the other, and you're going to use it all year long, okay? Again, we are going to do this. Almost every homework is going to have this built into it. So it's something I want you to get really good at. So the homework is a little bit long. I want you to do numbers 3 through 30, and I want you to do all of them, okay? 3 through 30, you're going to do all of them. But if you look at the instructions, it says use the distributive property on those 7 problems. And then it says use a table on the next set of questions. Then it says use the FOIL method. I don't care which method you use. You could use the FOIL method on all of them, okay? You can FOIL every single part of this assignment, or you could use the table on all of them. But give this a try. Try different methods and see which one you like the most, and then keep using it over and over and over again, okay? Yes, I realize this is 27 homework questions. I want you to do all 27 of them. I want you to get to where you can do this quickly and comfortably and not have to think through every step because you've learned how to do it. You've got it figured out, all right? So 3 through 30, do all of them. And then there's 35 through 41. These are the ones that they're like the 2x3s. And I want you to try 4 of those. You don't have to do all of them, just do the odds. But I want you to try those 4. So yes, it's a little bit longer homework assignment. And I think that's a good thing. You're going to need the practice. You're going to want to get good at it. So good luck.